Take it away, Council President.
Good afternoon. Welcome to this regular meeting of the Providence City Council. Today is Thursday, March 18, 2021. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Council President Matos.
Present.
Councilwoman Anthony.
Present.
Councilwoman Castillo.
Present.
Councilman Correa.
Present.
Councilman Espinal. Absent. Councilman Gonzalez.
Present.
Councilwoman Harris is absent. Councilman Igliozzi.
Present.
Councilor Kerwin.
Present.
Councilwoman LaFortune is absent. Councilor Miller.
Present.
Councilman Narducci.
Yeah.
Councilwoman Ryan.
Present.
Councilor Salvatore.
Present.
Councilman Taylor.
Here.
You have 12 present and 3 absent. You have a quorum.
Thank you. The invocation is going to be given by Councilman Deputy Majority Leader Nicholas Narducci.
Thank you, Madam President. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Lord, may you continue to pray and watch over our families at this sad times, and all the families that have been hit with the COVID situation. And Lord, may you keep an eye on the process moving forward and the vaccines getting into the arms of the people that need them. And lastly, Lord, may you watch over all of us. Amen. Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Amen.
Thank you. The Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America is going to be led by Councilman David Salvatore.
I pledge allegiance to the
To
flag
the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ow.
Thank you.
Careful
Mr.
there,
Clerk,
Councilman Narducci.
Yeah, it's what this damp weather kills me, bro.
Mr. Clerk, please note that Councilwoman LaFortune has joined the meeting.
So noted.
Solicitor, can you please state the legality of the meeting in the record, please?
Yes, good evening. Jeff Dana, City Solicitor. Per executive order of the Governor of the State of Rhode Island, we are permitted to hold this meeting via Zoom.
Thank you. Mr. Clerk.
Election of one member to the Providence External Review Authority, para. Item 3, election of one member to the Providence External Review Authority, para.
Leader Ryan.
Madam President, I would like to nominate Panita Feeble.
Second that nomination, Madam President.
Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? Hearing none, and direct the clerk to cast one ballot for Panita Feeble for to be a member of the Providence External Review Authority, para. And thank you. And we're gonna have the swearing ceremony right after the meeting tonight. Mr. Clerk.
Appointments by His Honor the Mayor. Item 4, communications from
Madam President,
Leader Ryan.
a motion to waive the reading of items 4 and 5 and refer to the Committee on Finance.
Second that motion, Madam President.
Motion has been made and second to waive the readings of item 4 and 5, and these items are going to be referred to the Committee on Finance. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
May I have it?
Item 6, communication from His Honor the Mayor dated March 12, 2021, informing the honorable members of the city pursuant to Resolution 2020-382, he is this day appointing Colonel Hugh T. Clements, Jr., of the Providence Police Department to the Special Commission on ATVs and Recreational Vehicles.
Received.
Appointment by City Council President. Item 7, communication from Council President Matos dated March 12, 2021, appointing Majority Leader Joanne Ryan, Councilwoman Castillo, Councilman Narducci, and Councilman Gonzalez as members of the Special Committee on ATVs and Recreational Vehicles.
Received.
Ordinance in second reading. The following ordinances were in City Council.
Madam President,
Leader Ryan.
motion to waive the reading of items 8 through 11 and pass for the second time on a roll call vote.
Second, Madam President.
A motion has been made and seconds to waive the readings of item number 8 through 11. And this item is going to be passed for the second time on a roll call vote. I noticed Councilwoman Anthony, you have your hands up.
Thank you, Council President. I'd like to recuse myself from number 9.
Mr. Clerk?
So noted.
All right. Mr. Clerk, can you please call the roll?
Council President Matos.
Aye.
Councilwoman Anthony.
Aye for 8 and 9. I mean 8 and 10.
Councilwoman Castillo.
Aye.
Councilman Correa.
Aye.
Councilman Espinal is absent. Councilman Gonzalez.
Aye.
Councilwoman Harris is absent. Councilman Igliozzi.
Aye.
Councilor Kerwin.
Aye.
Councilwoman LaFortune.
Aye.
Councilor Miller.
Aye.
Councilman Narducci.
Aye.
Councilwoman Ryan.
Aye on 8 and 10. I recuse on item 9, and I will file the appropriate paperwork with the clerk.
So noted. Councilor Salvatore.
Aye.
Councilman Taylor.
Aye.
You have 13 ayes and 2 absent on items 8, 10, and 11. And you have 11 ayes, 2 abstentions, and 2 absent on item number 9. The several matters passed the second time on a roll call vote.
Thank you.
Excuse me, Council President, I want to make sure I was recorded as aye on item 11. I don't believe I stated that verbally.
That's true, but I did record you as ayes.
Yeah. Okay, well, that's official now then.
All right.
Thank you.
I had the same comment, Council President. I hope I was an aye also on 11.
Mr. Clerk. Okay. Looks like Sean got that. Good.
Presentation of resolutions. Item 12. Council President Matos, by request.
Madam
Resolution-
President,
Leader Ryan.
motion to waive the reading of items 12 through 17 and refer to the Committee on Finance.
Second, Madam President.
Motion has been made on second to waive the readings on item number 12 through 17. And these items are going to be referred to the Committee on Finance. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it.
Item 8. Council President Matos, Councilwoman Anthony, Councilman Correa, Espinal, Gonzalez, Councilor Kerwin, Miller, and Councilman Narducci. Resolution supporting Providence Community Health Centers.
Madam President,
Leader Ryan.
motion to pass item 18 on a voice vote.
Second,
motion-
Madam President.
Motion has been made on second to pass item 18 on a voice vote. And I see some hands up. I have Councilwoman Anthony.
Oh,
All set? All right.
sorry.
Councilwoman LaFortune.
Thank you, Council President. If you, the sponsor, does not oppose, I would like to be listed as a co-sponsor to this resolution, and as also, someone who, thank you for doing this, as someone who went through the community health centers until I left for college. So thank you for introducing this.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Then next I have Councilman Salvatore.
Same request.
All right. Chairman Igliozzi.
Same request, Madam President.
Okay, and Councilman Taylor,
Same request.
okay, co-sponsor.
Same request.
Castillo and Leader Ryan.
Thank you.
Okay, did we get everybody? Okay, motion has been made on second. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? The ayes have it.
Item 19, Councilman Espinal, Gonzalez, Councilwoman Harris, Anthony, Councilman Correa, Councilor Miller, Councilwoman Matos, Ryan. Resolution regarding environmental compliance in the Port of Providence.
Madam President,
Leader Ryan.
motion to pass item 19 on a voice vote.
Second, Madam President.
A motion has been made on second to pass item 19 on a voice vote, and I have some comments. I'm going first with Chairman Igliosi.
Madam President, if there's no objection, I'd like to co-sponsor, please.
Chairman Igliosi and Councilwoman Castillo want to co-sponsor. Councilman Salvatore.
Same request, please.
Thanks. Also, Councilwoman LaFortune.
Same request. Thank you.
Councilman Goncalves.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to speak on this matter if possible.
Sure. Let me just take the co-sponsor. I'll be back to you. So I have Councilman Narducci,
Yes, thank you.
co-sponsor, Councilman Taylor, co-sponsor.
Yep.
Okay, all right. So I think I got all the co-sponsor. Councilwoman LaFortune, do you want to co-sponsor or you want to speak?
Oh, co-sponsor. Sorry.
Co-sponsor.
Didn't
All
know
right,
my hand,
okay.
Sorry.
Thanks. All right, just checking. All right, Councilman Goncalves, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would like to thank the sponsor, Councilman Espinal, for his leadership on this issue. I know he can't be here tonight, but I'd like to speak on this matter. This resolution regarding environmental compliance in the Port of Providence is long overdue, and it's sad that we as a body have to make it clear and repeat over and over again that for far too long the Port of Providence has been a dumping ground for pollution in our city. And we as a body cannot in good faith stand for the negative impacts that this is having in our city. Just think about the possibilities of what this port could be. In my ward, Ward 1, we enjoy the benefits of the beautiful India Point Park, which is bustling with human activity and bicyclists and families and children's and onlookers who can see the other side directly across the Providence River. And then in Ward 10, you've got the opposite. It's scrap yards and metals and polluting industries, some of the highest asthma rates disproportionately affecting South Providence and Washington Park neighborhoods. And as it stands, asthma is the most chronic illness in children there. And Rhode Island, if my memory serves me well, is the 9th highest in prevalence in the nation. Providence with the highest emergency department rates for asthma. And last week we saw plumes of toxic smoke in the air. And I'm sure that's not what we want. So we've got to do something about the scrap yards along Allen's Avenue that are perpetually polluting our neighborhoods. And I want to thank the sponsor for calling for additional compliance, for his courage, and for his advocacy on behalf of our constituents in the city. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. The motion has been made on second. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? The ayes have it.
Item 20, Councilman Gonzalez, Councilwoman Anthony, Councilman Espinal, and Correa. Resolution endorsing and urging passage by the General Assembly of House Bill 2021 H5674, House Bill 2021 H6074, House Bill 2021 H5595, and Senate Bill 2021 S0219, Senate Bill 2021 S0468, and Senate Bill 2021 S0540, known collectively as the Rescue Rhode Island Act.
First, I have a couple of hands raised, so let me take the comments first. Councilwoman LaFortune?
I would like to be added as a co-sponsor if the lead sponsor does not oppose, please. Thank you.
Okay. Councilor Miller? Co-sponsor?
Same request, yeah, thank you.
Okay, perfect. Councilman Gonkalf?
Sure. Thank you, Madam Chair. Before this item gets sent to committee, I'd like to reiterate some of the points that I made earlier. Providence is plagued with an environmental crisis, and that has impacts on our communities, disproportionately impacting our communities of color. Be it the Port of Providence or other environmentally challenged places across the neighborhood and the city. These bills call for a future in which every Rhode Islander has housing and food and clean air and water. This legislative package, entitled the Rescue Rhode Island Act, includes 6 bills authored by several of our state reps and senators, and it addresses the concurrent crises of lack of affordable housing, widespread food insecurity, and our climate crisis. And the Rescue Rhode Island Act also seeks to create thousands of well-compensated union-led jobs. Additionally, it seeks to create a regenerative agricultural economy that enhances food insecurity and access to local, healthy, nutritious foods free of poisonous chemicals. And if enacted, it will create a green justice zone program to fund some environmental remediation efforts. It's backed by Renew New England, which includes a growing coalition of over 150 organizations and constituents across all of our wards, in an effort to push for bold change and for a more equitable, safe, healthy, and sustainable city. So before this heads to committee, I would greatly appreciate everyone's consideration and co-sponsorship, and look forward to discussing this more in depth with you in committee. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Chairman Iglesias?
Madam President, if there's no objection, I'd like to co-sponsor.
Me too.
Councilwoman Castillo? Also, Councilman Taylor?
Same request, thank you.
Okay. Councilman Narducci?
Yes, same request, please, Madam.
Co-sponsor, right?
Please.
All right. This item is going to be referred to the Special Committee on the State Legislative Affairs. Oh, sorry, more hands, Councilwoman LaFortune?
I don't remember if I, I did request a co-sponsor, right, for this item already? Yes.
Yes,
I
you did.
Okay,
Yes, you did, okay, all right. Okay, Mr. Clerk.
Item 21, Councilwoman Ryan.
Madam President,
Leader Ryan.
motion to waive the reading of items 21 through 25 in pass on a voice vote, but I would like the clerk to read items 21 and 22 the resolutions in their entirety for the record, please. That was a big, long motion.
I'd like to second that motion, Madam President, and also co-sponsor all those items too.
All right, so this is gonna give you a motion, right? So the motion asks to waive the readings of item 21 through 25. And we're asking the clerk to read the resolutions for items number 21 and 22 into the record. Okay.
Good job.
All right, I have a few hands up, so let me check on that first. I have Councilor Miller.
Madam President, thank you. I'm happy to wait until after the readings have been read. I just have to speak briefly on number.
Perfect, I'll come back to you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Me too.
Councilwoman Castillo, you want to co-sponsor?
I want to wait for reading and after I take my decision.
Okay, all right, perfect. Councilman Salvatore.
If there's no objection, co-sponsorship on all items. Thank you.
Yeah.
No objection.
Councilman Taylor.
Same request.
Okay. Councilwoman LaFortune.
Same request for all the items. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you. And I also would like to co-sponsor the items. So the motion has been made and second. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? The discussion, so I'm gonna have the clerk to read the items 21 and 22.
My pleasure. Item 21, resolution honoring the life and legacy of Frank Latorre. Whereas Frank Latorre, lifelong resident of Providence, passed away at 71 years of age on Tuesday, March 2nd, 2021. And whereas Mr. Latorre was the former executive director of the Providence Downtown Improvement District and a pillar of the City of Providence's downtown and nightlife communities through his work as the chairman of the Providence Hospitality Resource Partnership and as chairman of the Downtown Providence Security Network. And whereas Mr. Latorre was a valued partner to the Providence City Council, he was instrumental in creating the Downtown Residential Association in 2015 and served as an advocate and voice for downtown residents and participated in numerous community improvement activities and forums. And whereas as a community leader, Mr. Latorre used his platform to improve the quality of life and economic opportunities for residents and local businesses in the downtown district. And whereas Mr. Latorre's community-oriented attitude serves as a shining example for all citizens that wish to create positive change in their neighborhood. And whereas Frank Latorre's impact on the City of Providence will be sorely missed and his legacy will live on for generations to come. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Providence City Council hereby honors the legacy and memory of Frank Latorre. Be it further resolved that the City Council of the City of Providence extends its deepest condolences to the entire Latorre family, as well as Frank's extended family and friends throughout Providence and beyond.
Thank you.
Item 22, resolution honoring the life and legacy of Brian Feeney. Whereas Mr. Brian Feeney, a lifelong resident of Providence, passed away on February 28, 2021 at the age of 64, and whereas Mr. Feeney was committed to serving his local community even from a young age, starting as a paper boy delivering newspapers throughout the city, and whereas Mr. Feeney took great pride in his work for the Providence Water Supply Board, where he built a reputation as a model of integrity and enthusiasm in his 32 years of service, and whereas as a dedicated father and family man, Brian Feeney coached Little League baseball for his children and their friends in the Elmhurst Little League, where he was always friendly, fun, and welcoming. And whereas Mr. Feeney owned the Bradley Cafe on Admiral Street, where he welcomed all customers and created a cordial and neighborly atmosphere for all who entered. And whereas Mr. Feeney established himself as a compassionate, accepting, and good-humored man through his decades of service to his family, friends, the City of Providence, and his customers at the Bradley Cafe. And whereas Mr. Feeney will be missed by all who had the privilege of knowing him and working with him. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Providence City Council hereby honors the memory and legacy of Mr. Brian Feeney. Be it further resolved that the City Council of the City of Providence extends its deepest condolences to the entire Feeney family, as well as Brian's extended family and friends throughout Providence and beyond.
Thank you. I have Councilman Narducci.
Madam President, excuse me, Madam President, I'd like to speak on item number 25.
Item number 25.
Yes.
Councilman Narducci, I'm just going to go back to Councilor Miller because she was waiting for items 21, and then I'll come back to you for 25. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Miller.
Okay, thanks, Madam President. I'm also speaking on 25. I could defer.
Okay.
But I'll just be brief and just say, so I got a little lost in the process. We haven't yet voted on these items. Correct?
So actually we are during discussion. So we just, I just called for the vote. So we are in discussion right now.
Thank you. So I just want to say, I think we all share frustration and concern for health and safety in the city with regard to ATVs and some of the road bikes. I am going to abstain on this resolution, not because I don't, agree with you and share your concern, but I am disappointed and frustrated that we're heading into like another season, as another spring, where we really haven't made any progress in working with some of the people who are riding bikes, like in terms of having discussions, in terms of figuring out, if there's some needs that we as a city are not meeting for some of our youth and some of the other people involved, especially after we had some serious incidents last year. So I just want to say, I share the concern of my colleagues, and I look forward to talking with you all about it in the future.
Councilman Narducci?
Thank you. To follow up on that, one of the reasons why we've got nowhere with these illegal ATVs and motorcycles is because the police were never supported in doing what they need to do to take them off the road. They're not on the road legally. They're on the road illegally. They're not registered. They're not insured. I don't know if people have got licenses even to drive them. I know I drive my car. I have to have insurance. I have to have a registration, and I have to have a driver's license. These riders also are riding in groups of 30 to 100 at a time, riding up Apples Avenue during last summer, spitting at people that are trying to eat, disturbing people, and turned away a lot of people for the rest of the summer and even going to Apples Avenue to try to enjoy dinner. Just last week, I brought my wife to work down at Providence. I went to pick up my wife down at work on DuPont Drive, and there was about 30 of them, and they were coming up as I was going down. And I'll be honest with you, I refused to move, and then they weren't moving. And it's not like it's a bunch of when we were kids. I had a dirt bike. My father took us down to the dunes down in Coventry where we rode our bikes. I know there's talk about trying to find places for them to ride. The issue I think we should all look at with that is, if we try to find somewhere for them to ride, how are they going to get there? Are they going to tow the bikes there like we did? Are they going to drive the bikes there? And again, they're on the roads illegally. It's just frustrating for me, and I will move forward and support the Providence Police Department 100%. It was nice hearing the mayor on board also with enforcing it, and also moving forward with the committee we got together to try to find some solution. But I think at this point in time, the solution is supporting the Providence Police Department and doing their job to enforce the law that's on the books. Back a few years ago, if some of you council people remember, myself along with a couple other council people, we had the same issue going on, and what we did is we approved an ordinance giving the Providence Police Department the power to where if they even knew where these bikes or ATVs were, private property or not, they had the right to go in, tow the bikes out, and destroy them. We've been very, very fortunate that no innocent people have been hurt or killed. I as a city councilman don't want that on my back, knowing that that we've allowed this to continue to happen. Again, I support the Providence Police Department 100% in getting these illegal ATVs and motorcycles off the roads. With that being said, thank you, Madam President, and hopefully my colleagues stay on board with this moving forward and try to make things work.
Thank you. Councilman Salvatore.
Thank you, Madam President. I too want to speak on item number 25, and I agree with a lot of the comments that have been made. Councilor Miller is absolutely right. I'm disappointed that the city has not engaged in that constructive dialogue to a level where we can enter the spring and summer seasons knowing that folks are going to be safe on our roads and sidewalks. And that includes everybody. That doesn't just include folks in vehicular vehicles. I'm talking about folks who use our sidewalks and streets for wellness purposes, riders of these various vehicles. And I just think that we have wasted a lot of precious time between a lot of what we saw last year and this time. Look, we all agree that we have to do something in the spirit of public safety. And if we're not going to do anything, then I think the appropriate directive at the moment is spelled out in this resolution. Let's take a break from the usage of these vehicles on our local roads. Let's engage again in that constructive dialogue that's necessary so somebody doesn't get hurt or worse. But I am extremely disappointed that that has not happened to date. And I just hope that this issue is not politicized more than it already has been. There are good people who are these so-called riders. And then there are folks that Councilman Narducci talked about who, you know, I think they're going to be, they're out there wanting to do what they want to do. And there's no place for that on our local roads. I don't think anybody should be disrespected, whether it be our fellow neighbors, public safety officers, etc. But something has to be done. It's good to see Cranston and Providence teaming up to address some of these issues. And I also saw on tonight's docket that, you know, the ATV task force is going to be brought back to life, I guess. I'm not sure why that group hasn't met. If they have, please correct me, but they haven't to date, and we're still making appointments to this task force. So let's continue to urge the mayor, both of Providence and Cranston, to engage in that dialogue. It's great that Cranston wants to partner and is coming up with some creative solutions on their own, but I think this needs to be a collaborative effort. But I can't stress enough the importance of talking to these riders, okay? I think if we continue to cut them out of the conversation, we're going to continue seeing a lot of the bad behavior on our local roads. And like I said, there's no excuse for it. Somebody's going to get hurt, if not worse, but they have to be brought to the table, and they do have to engage in this conversation with us. They have to be a part of the solution. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Councilman. Leader Ryan.
Thank you, Council President. Thank you to my colleagues who've already spoken on this topic. I would just like to, for the record, take us back in time. In 2015, this body basically passed an ordinance making it illegal to operate recreational vehicles, ATVs, on the streets of Providence for all of the reasons that we've just articulated. They're unsafe. They're not made to be driven on the roads. Their tires and such are just not structured to be able to ride them safely on the road. So just inherently, their design is unsafe, and they cause all kinds of nuisances expressed aptly by Councilman Narducci. And our job as public servants is to provide a safe environment for everyone. Whether you're, it doesn't come down to us for whether you're good or bad. We want everyone to be safe, and they're just generally unsafe to be ridden on our roads. And as a freshman counselor, I started working on ATVs, and I think everybody that was on the council at that time remembers that in 2016, we issued a resolution asking the police to enforce the ordinance that was expressed, that was passed in 2015. And then when we still had trouble, it seems to be a seasonal issue, as our colleagues have also expressed. So in 2017, I basically sat down with the public safety folks and I said, why are we still dealing with this? I don't understand it. They're illegal. We've passed laws. The council has spoken. We've given the police and public safety officials what they've asked for. In 2017, I worked with the solicitor's office and our policy, the city council policy office, and it was identified that there was no due process clause in the ordinance that we passed. So we added a due process clause, and that clause basically gave the police the tools that they needed to get the bikes off the roads. So that was a big step forward. Obviously, that worked to some degree, but still we're now faced again another season trying to get these bikes off the road. So legislatively, we have done a lot on ATVs to give the public safety officials the tools they need to do the job. The resolution 25 that my colleagues have spoken on about actually asked the mayor to support the police in an effort to get these bikes off our streets and thereby making it safe for everyone, the riders as well as the general public. They're intimidating and generally dangerous. Also tonight, which kind of went by unspoken, the council president has created a task force. By the way, I neglected to say there was a resolution somewhere, there was a task force created in 2017 in addition with to the ordinance that we passed providing due process. The task force was intended to say, let's engage the community. We created a hotline. We worked with the administration. We basically said as a council, we have a problem. It was 2017. We need to work together to solve it. We need to get these bikes off the street. Everyone was supposed to be working together on it. That task force, again, was created. It had representatives from the administration, from the council, from the public safety folks. So we were all working together on it. Tonight, we also, the council president put forth a task force made up of council members because, as I think we all have witnessed, we're frustrated. Item 25 asks the mayor to support the police and give them the tools they need to enforce our ordinances. And item 7 creates a council task force specifically to address the challenges that the ATVs are causing for our neighborhoods. Councilwoman Castillo was a shepherd of that, and I give her credit for that. So hopefully we'll be sitting down and we will have the discussion at a council level on, and basically I perceive that we're going to be asking why we have legislated. We've put everything on the table and we've passed it time and time again. And now we're sitting here entering the season of ATVs and we're getting confusing messages sent out. At one point, I know a number of council people were barraged by calls because the mayor said that he was his legislative package to the General Assembly included a request to legalize ATVs. And then there was a press conference saying that wasn't the case, that they're dangerous and they're illegal. So there's miscommunication. The council task force committee that I hope will meet quickly, hopefully will vet this issue to a greater degree. But at this point, the council has asked the mayor, the public safety folks to work together to find a solution because they are dangerous. And I'm hoping we're speaking collectively on this topic. Thank you very much, Council President, for the time that you've allotted me.
Thank you, Leader. I have Councilman Goncalves and
Sure. Thank you, Madam Chair. I agree that we should talk to the riders, and I want to thank you for your sentiments, Councilwoman Miller and Salvatore. This is a pervasive issue among cities across our country, and while we recognize that there are impassioned riders of recreational vehicles out there, I just don't think that having them or entertaining the idea of having them riding on our roads is a good way to go. To Councilwoman Ryan's point, it sends mixed messages. And again, while we recognize that there are impassioned riders out there, and we're open to hearing concrete legal off-road solutions for the motorbike community, we have a responsibility to our residential city streets, given the public safety issues that they pose to pedestrians and families and children and motorists in our neighborhood. Let's be open to discussion, but we can't have what we've had in previous summers. I hope that we'll, again, be open to discussion. And this year, we we have seen some behavior so far that's been challenging and that has certainly endangered our community. I'm sure lots of us get constituent emails about this, and I hope that we can hear the perspectives of the riders and be open to creative mechanisms, such as finding a space that's legal, but riding on residential neighborhoods in droves, I don't think that's the solution. So I'm hopeful that we'll have really robust discussions on this particular issue, and I look forward to hearing all of your insights.
Thank you. Councilwoman Castillo.
Thank you for bringing this. I believe I have a problem in this area for the motorcycle, like everyone. First of all, mostly that this motorcycle, that's illegal. They can be in the street and the police can remove for the street the illegal motorcycle. We have a lot of conversation, and I understand, like they say, you know, they need to place to go or whatever, but they started, you know, I got in my car to pick it out my granddaughter to the school, and I had to stop because I'm scared. A lot of motorcycle put the wheels up, and that's just unacceptable. We need to continue to working really hard to see how we can do this summer that we can get like a big accident in our street. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Chairman Iglesias.
Thank you, Madam President. I rise and I support in this matter. Just very quickly, in my tenure as a city council person for years, one of the biggest issues in my neighborhood has always been about traffic calming. And I've secured thousands of dollars in my neighborhood for all different types of traffic calming measures to slow traffic down, to limit automobiles, big tractor trailers, all those kinds of vehicles which create calamity on the residential roads. This is no different than when a few years back, mostly went on, we'd have, I had gangs on motorcycles that were registered and had licenses and had insurance, but they kind of liked, ganging together and riding up and down the streets in my particular streets in my neighborhood. And this was just a gang. It had adult gang, and the loud motorcycles, the Harley Davidsons, as you know, you can hear them from one end of the city to the other. That is all part of it. And one of the major, one of the things my constituents always talk to me about in the conversations that, they live in our neighborhood, we all live together. They just want people to be neighborly, respectful to each other. And I think, whether you ride a bike, a motorcycle, you walk or drive a car, it's all about just respecting the rules of the road and respecting people when you go in the neighborhoods. I think that's the priority. But one thing I do think is interesting is everybody keeps on defining these vehicles, recreational vehicles, but that's what they are. They're recreational vehicles designed for recreational areas, not Pocasset Avenue, not Lowell Ave, not, Eliza Street. They're for areas that are designated, like official parks that do, that handle these types of vehicles that tear up the grass and the road. So, to me, this is about quality of life. It's that plain and simple. The constituents I represent come from all over the country, all over the world, and they're just trying to make a living, live their life, raise their families in some peace and quiet, and also, by the way, in a neighborly fashion. And I just feel, my role as their representative is to do everything I can to support their quality of life. I don't know what the stories with these folks are. The riders is every point. I guess there's a rider library. Is it a lobbyist group? I have no idea what's going on. But it seems to be an eclectic group of all different ages and from all different parts of the state. They're not just from Providence. They're not all from Silver Lake coming together. They're from all over the state. And the problem is that they believe that they are above the law, and they believe they can be rooted in, at least in the neighborhoods that we live in. if they just followed the rules of the road and was respectful, I think, and didn't, drive aggressively, I think there's always, it's about driving correctly. And I think that's the problem. I don't know if there's a quick answer, but I'll say something else about one other thing about the mixed message. The city of Providence always talking about, we want to promote people walking to work, biking to work, and we don't want automobiles in the city, gas guzzling, smoke emitting vehicles on one end, right? But on this other end, we all want to coddle recreational vehicles that are loud, super loud. They don't have bafflers in them, obnoxious, spewing toxic fumes in our neighborhood. So it's a mixed message. Like, we don't want automobiles, but we're okay with these vehicles running up and down in our neighborhood. That doesn't make any sense. And I think that's part of the issue. So in my take, my position, my constituents have told me quality of life is number one. They just ask everybody to be respectful of each other and their neighbors. And unfortunately, when these groups get together, and I actually saw a group of them just recently last week in the middle of the day. And the problem is they don't respect the neighborhood. They don't respect the neighbors. And I think that's what it comes down to. And that's my position. That's why I support it. The answer is they need to know that you got to follow the law. And if you don't, there's consequences. It's that plain and simple. So thank you, Madam President. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Chairman. Kate, with the motion was made and second, we voted on it on discussion. But just as a reminder, we were items 21 through 25, and we already voted.
I want to be a sponsor
You want to be? Okay.
or sponsor.
I don't think we voted. We were in discussion.
No. For the other
No,
two.
she was queuing up.
Sorry.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, so
Councilwoman Castillo would like to be a co-sponsor of item 25, I believe.
item 25, all right.
Okay.
Okay, so Mr. Clerk, do we need to vote again? Are we good?
There was a vote taken. If you wanted to have a motion to reconsider those items and have another vote so that council members could reflect their opposition to certain items, because at this moment, all of the items are reflected as everyone voting affirmatively for 21.
All right. So in that case, Leader Ryan, can you please take back your motion?
I retract my motion on item 20 to pass 21 through 25 in a voice vote.
It's actually, it's a motion. It's actually, excuse me,
sorry.
Mr. Clerk, it's a motion. It's an official motion to reconsider.
Reconsider,
So
sorry.
may I just say, just for clarification, I don't think you're looking to reconsider all the items. It seems like it's only one item. And I think that may be easier for all that, I believe correctly. I may be wrong, council members. I don't want to overspeak. So therefore, you
Thank
can
you,
make a simple
Majority Whip.
motion to reconsider item number 25, second, and then you go from there.
Are you making that motion? I'll second it.
Yes,
There you go.
please.
Motion has been made and second to reconsider item number 25. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Mr. Clerk, item
Aye.
number 25.
A resolution regarding ATV and recreational vehicle enforcement.
Okay, Leader Ryan,
Motion to pass item 25 on a voice vote.
Second, Madam President.
okay, motion has been made and second to pass item number 25 on a voice vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Oppose?
Aye.
I'd like to abstain.
Okay, one abstention. I believe
I would also like to abstain, please.
Councilwoman Kerwin would like to abstain also. Okay. There I have it.
So we have 11 ayes and 2 abstentions. Is that correct?
Yes. Councilman Correa, were you going to add something? No? Okay. Yep. So that's the vote.
And 2 absences, right? Isn't it?
That is, yes.
11, 2 abstain, 2 absences, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong.
That's
All right,
correct.
Thank you.
Reports from committees. Committee on Finance, Councilman John J. Igliozzi, Chairman, transmits the following with recommendation the same be approved. Item 26, resolution authorizing approval of the tentative agreement by and between the City of Providence, Rhode Island and the Providence Fraternal Order of Police, Lodge Number 3, for the period of July 1st, 2019 through June 30th, 2023, is hereby approved and ratified by the Providence City Council.
Madam President,
Leader Ryan.
motion to pass item 26 on a roll call vote.
Second, Madam President.
Motion has been made and second to pass item number 26 on a roll call vote. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Council President Matos,
Aye.
The discussion,
Madam President, there's discussion. I think I see Councilman
Discussion.
LaFortune's hand up, I believe.
All right. Thank you. Councilwoman LaFortune?
Thank you, Council President. So this resolution to pass to approve the FOP contract is really important in terms of police reform in the work that we have been doing to try to address the pension liability. In 2018, I joined some of my council members in writing a report and outlining recommendations and tools into how we can address the pension liability. And one of the recommendations that we outlined was to increase the contribution into the pension. And with this contract, it would increase the contribution to about 13%. With the raise, it would be about a $30 million addition to the pension, minus the $12 million would be about $19 million towards the pension that we didn't have before. And we know that the pension liability is quite significant. It's over $1 billion, a little over $1 billion. And so we need to take various approaches or strategies to try to address it. And we know the model to get us to a stable place will require multiple strategies. However, my major concern is that although pension reform and the contract is separate from police reform and also cultivating or reimagining community policing, we have seen the community come together. We have seen people advocate. The mayor commissioned a group of people that became the African American group that has been meeting for about a year, that has provided recommendations on what we can do to increase the relationship between the police and the community members. We've seen incidents that happened right here in our state. In fact, Hanley, the verdict was read, and this person assaulted a person of color. A police officer assaulted a person of color. And the only ramification is that the person is going to receive probation, 1 year probation, and has to take 5 anger management courses. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that all police officers behave in this way, right? We want to live in a city where everyone feels safe. Our police officers are well compensated. They're valued for the work that they're doing. We also want to live in a city where the community feels that their needs are being heard and that they too, particularly those from marginalized communities, feel that they can walk down the streets. They will not be targeted or they will not be assaulted merely because of the color of their skin or their background. And so this has been quite a difficult decision for me because I want to see pension reform. In fact, I've actively worked on this report with my colleagues to ensure that something like this happens, to set a precedent so our other unions can contribute more to the pension. But we cannot continue ignoring the issues that impact our communities. People have been advocating for this for quite some time. After the George Floyd death, we saw leaders stand for photo ops and in the media to say that we're going to do things differently, and then it went silent. We have not seen any changes in accountability. We have not heard of any concrete initiatives. And yes, I get it. We're waiting on the assessment of the police department, but we've been waiting for months. At some point, we do have to take a stance, and we have to see what strategies, what initiatives our mayor, our police leaders are taking to ensure that we are cultivating true community policing within the city of Providence. And we've come a long way. We've taken many strides. We've implemented some initiatives within the police department, but there is a lot of work to do. And that work requires all of us, right, to invest time and the resources to get it done. And I know that the crisis, I've actually been quite active in developing the framework for a crisis response initiative. But one of the things that I brought to the mayor was that even within the crisis response initiative, yes, my group, which included experts, behavioral health experts, criminal justice experts, community members, outlined a framework from the foundation of equity, inclusion, and diversity. But then there wasn't any type of, within the scoring component, there's no way to score that, to assess it. So all it is words on a piece of paper without any accountability. So the community has been saying that they're tired. We need to see reform. We want to reimagine a true community policing entity within the city of Providence. I also want to see more contributions into the pension liability. But those things do have to, although separate, they do work hand in hand. And so with that said, I will not be supporting this. I will be voting no. I want to see our city leaders, I want to see our mayor stand up, be brave enough to implement initiatives so that we can have a strong and community-based police entity within the city of Providence, because it benefits everyone. It benefits the police, they're safer. It benefits the community, they're safer. And so I will not be, I will be voting no on this item.
Councilman Gunkoff.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you for those remarks. Today, the council, as a legislative body of government, is put in an extremely tough position. We have a looming billion-dollar pension liability that diminishes our ability to effectively deliver the best city services to meet the needs of our taxpayers and our constituents. This FOP contract, from my understanding, was a contract in which the city would not have been able to avoid paying raises without going to arbitration. And avoiding arbitration and litigation and the lengthy, costly process that comes with it will save our city money to deliver the city services and provide the opportunities and programs that our constituents so desperately need. There clearly are fiscal benefits to this FOP contract, and the financial implications of not striking or negotiating a deal in good faith would have been more costly to the city, and I want to applaud the city for being resolute in demanding pension reform. So that being said, I want to, again, acknowledge the fiscal benefits to the city in the long term. I want to thank the men and women who keep our community safe from violent crime and anything that undermines the public safety in our neighborhoods. This past summer, all across the country, and even right here in our city, however, there were calls to reimagine policing as we know it. 19 hours of testimony, or 9, I believe, to denounce police violence and brutality, specifically among our Black and Brown communities. And I hope that everyone on this council can agree that police brutality has no place in our society. And I hope the men and women in uniform would agree with that sentiment. And in a time where there's incredible division in our country, in many cases in our city, I hope that we will all heed the call to be better and be a part of the solution. So today, Madam Chair, I'm pleading for unity. Unity in the sense that we all need to be a part of the solution. We will all need to acknowledge our shortcomings. We will all need to be better about protecting and serving. We need to acknowledge the history of policing in our country. We need to acknowledge our implicit bias. We all need to acknowledge that there are important perspectives in our communities of color, and we need to acknowledge our roles in making our city more prosperous and safe for everyone, no matter their race, their gender, or their background. To our public safety officials who put their lives on the line every day, we certainly want to thank you for your service, and we hope that you too will be a part of the solution. To our constituents, especially those on that 9-hour call, whether you agree with this contract or not, we need you to work with us, not against us, to be a part of the solution. Demonizing every person in our police department will not solve any problems. Sitting down and working together in partnership and collaboration will. And we have to work together to figure out how we best serve our communities. We have to work together to further strengthen and build trust between law enforcement and the communities that they serve. That's going to help us solve the problem. But in order to do that, we need unity. We need to sit down, we need to talk to each other, we need to reflect with each other, we need to figure out how to do better, we need to figure out how to be a part of the solution, and that requires all of us, our elected officials, our police, our community. And I too care deeply about the long-term fiscal health of our city, the way that we protect and serve all of our citizens, in the way that we strengthen public safety in our city for all. And so during these trying times, I'm pleading and calling for unity and healing and working together on what is seemingly a divisive and polarizing issue right now in our city. And I hope that we can ultimately unify to make our city a better, more prosperous, just, and safer city for all. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. So motion has been made and second.
Madam
Mr.
President, if I may.
Councilman Aducci?
Thank you, Madam President. I do agree with the unity, and everybody needs to work together. But I am proud to be supporting this tonight. I think it's a well overdue contract to the men and women of the department. And me, myself, I'm very proud of the men and the women of the Providence Police Department for the hard work and the unsafe situations they put themselves into to protect us as a community, as a city. Thank you, Madam President.
Any further discussion? No. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Council President Matos.
Aye.
Councilwoman Anthony.
Aye.
Councilwoman Castillo.
Aye.
Councilman Correa.
Aye.
Councilman Espinal is absent. Councilman Gonzalez.
Abstain.
Councilwoman Harris is absent. Councilman Igliozzi.
Aye.
Councilor Kerwin.
No.
Councilwoman LaFortune.
Nay.
Councilor Miller.
No.
Councilman Narducci.
Yes.
Councilwoman Ryan.
Aye.
Councilor Salvatore.
Aye.
Councilman Taylor.
Aye.
You have 9 ayes, 3 nays, 1 abstention, and 2 absent. The matter passes on a roll call vote. Committee on State Legislative Affairs, Councilwoman Jo Ann Ryan, Chairwoman, transmits the following with recommendation the same be separated.
Madam President,
Leader Ryan?
I'd like to make a motion to waive the reading of items 27 through 29 and to pass on a voice vote.
Second, Madam President.
Motion has been made and second to waive the readings of item 27 through 29, and these items are going to be passed on a voice vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? May I have it?
From the clerk's desk, item 30, petitions for compensation for injuries and damages.
Severely refer them to the Committee on Claims and Pending Suit.
Communications and reports, item 30.
Madam President,
Leader Ryan,
motion to waive the reading of items 31 through 33 and refer to the Committee on Finance.
Second, Madam President.
the motion has been on second to waive the readings of items 31 through 33, and these items are going to be referred to the Committee on Finance. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 The ayes have it.
Presentation of resolutions and congratulations. Item 34, Council President Matos and members of the City Council, resolution extending congratulations.
Madam President,
Leader Ryan,
motion to pass item 34 and a voice vote.
Second, Madam President.
motion has been made on second to pass item number 34 on a voice vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it.
Presentation of resolutions in memoriam. Item 35, Council President Matos and members of the City Council, resolution extending sympathy.
Madam
Leader
President,
Ryan,
motion to pass item 35 on a unanimous rising vote.
Second, Madam President.
motion has been made on second to pass item number 35 on a unanimous rising vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? The ayes have it. Leader Ryan,
Motion to suspend Rule 16B of the Rules of the City Council in order to take matters not appearing on the printed docket.
Second, Madam President.
motion has been made on second is to waive, I'm sorry, the motion to suspend the rules of the City Council 16B to take items that were not in the printed docket. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it.
Item 36, an ordinance supplementing Ordinance Chapter 2018-45 and approving the issuance of not to exceed $100,690,000 general obligation bonds, notes, and other evidences of indebtedness to fund the city's school capital improvements plan.
Madam President, motion to,
I could just refer to
oh,
finance.
you can do it.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Refer to finance. Thank you, Leader.
Item 37, an ordinance establishing a tax stabilization agreement for 321 Knight Street.
Refer to the Committee on Finance. Leader Ryan,
Madam President, seeing there's no further business on our docket this evening, I'd like to suggest we adjourn this meeting in memory of a relative of our colleague who's not with us tonight. Councilman Espinal has noted or requested the adjournment in memory of Pedro Caprio Espinal, who passed away yesterday. He's a loving father and a contributing member of our community.
Second, Madam President.
motion has been made on second to adjourn in the memory of Mr. Pedro Caprio, who's a relative of our colleague, Councilman Espinal. Our condolences to the family. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? May I have it? We're adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Be
you.
well and be safe, everybody.
Thank you.
Be safe.